Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Kidnapped, directed by Marco Bellocchio. This is a historical drama that tells the true story of Edgardo Mortara, a Jewish boy in Italy during the mid-19th century. He was secretly baptized by a Christian servant when he was a baby, and then later abducted from his Jewish family by the papal authorities. It was argued that a baptized Christian shouldn't be raised in a Jewish household. On the whole, I did enjoy this film, but by the end I did have quite a few reservations. The film recreates this true story well. The horrible experience for the family of having their 7-year-old child ripped away from them, the arrogance of the church officials believing in their own superiority, the implicit anti-Semitism, the pompousness and egotistical behaviour of the Pope. Edgardo is part of a group of young boys who were taken into the care of the church in Rome. Of course, with all the revelations about sexual abuse in the church, this was always on my mind whether Edgardo would be subjected to this. I cringed when the Pope made Edgardo sit on his knee. But the story didn't go in that direction, and I think this was probably a good decision. It was shocking enough without that, and if it had have included sexual abuse, what was shocking about this film would definitely have been overshadowed. That said, it felt like there could almost be a sexual element when the Pope makes the adult Edgardo lick the floor 3 times in the shape of a cross. What we now know about what has happened when men in the church have repressed their sexuality and then ended up abusing children, it seems certain that this would have happened in 19th century Rome. So for me, it always felt under the surface in this film. There were a few scenes that slightly puzzled me. First, the scene where Edgardo knocks the Pope over. It appears to be the case that he does it deliberately. And then there's the scene where he suddenly turns against the Pope on the bridge when the crowd wants to throw his dead body into the river. I'm not sure whether these scenes signal that somehow he remained conflicted about what happened to him. As an adult, he is a Christian priest, but perhaps the Jewish boy is still in him and gets revealed at certain points. If this is the case, I didn't really find this very convincing, and it seemed to be handled in quite a clumsy, melodramatic way. Another scene which I found odd was the scene when the Italian troops are overrunning the palace and the Pope goes up on the roof. It's almost like he's having a trance-like experience, and as we look over Rome, we see a very much CGI created image of an unreasonable amount of churches. It's almost like the Pope was on a psychedelic trip. I'm not sure what this was meant to denote. This is an interesting film, and for much of it, it did have me engaged. However, in the end, I don't think the execution was very good. My biggest criticism is the use of music in the film. Often the music is very dramatic. However, too often it slips into the melodramatic. It's just completely overdone. It's over the top at times. This made the film feel really clumsy and a bit superficial compared to the ambition of some of the sophisticated themes covered in this film. The final scene where Edgardo sees his dying mother felt really unsatisfactory to me. First, it's just emotionless. I think the melodrama had sucked the emotion out of the film for me by this point. And second, the attempted baptism just seemed a bit clumsy in the context of that split personality aspect of Edgardo. Overall, I was disappointed in the ending. There's a lot that this film gets right. It's nicely shot with many painterly scenes. It sets up a really interesting story with some deep themes that it seems like it's going to explore in an interesting way. But in the end, it falls victim to too much melodrama, and it fails to really fulfill the potential that it felt that it had earlier. I wouldn't really recommend this film. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.